The games that they play, the video games with all the violence, right? All the guns, the music that they listen to, it talks about all of that stuff. No wonder our teens are turning the way that they do.
Despite failed efforts, the advocacy group believes there's still hope, but says it starts at the top.
If the governor wants to make some changes, then she needs to get everybody in legislation to look at the laws that are already on the books and let's revise them.
And several crime bills in New Mexico were tabled at this year's legislative session. It's unclear if it will be addressed at next year's session. In studio, Faith Ibuanu, KW.
Hey there, guys. Man, we got to talk about what's going on in New Mexico. So I'm sure you've all read about it. There's a situation with this governor turned dictator, Michelle Lujan Grisham, I think is her name, who's trying to bypass the U.S. Constitution, which is insane, by prohibiting the rights of her law-abiding citizens that carry in public. And this includes people with a concealed carry permit because of what she says is a public health emergency on gun violence. Now, there is a lot of crime happening in New Mexico. There has been for a long time, especially in their bigger cities. But instead of cracking down on the crime, instead of cracking down on the criminals, she wants to focus on good citizens who are just trying to protect themselves against very criminals that she hasn't even bothered to think about addressing. And in typical gun control fashion, it seems these almost feels like the criminals are being encouraged and given the power to go cause more chaos, go cause more destruction. And instead of taking a more, real action against them, she thinks the answer is banning all guns. She can't possibly think that's the answer. You can't really make this stuff up. I don't know what's going on, but you got to see what's going on. I'm going to show you a video right here. But before we do, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. Really, really appreciate your help with the algorithm and everyone that's been joining. It's going to be a lot of fun.
A major announcement today, a bold step in the fight to prevent gun violence, and a decision that is sparking widespread outrage tonight. She has announced a temporary gun ban in public places in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. Tonight, we're explaining the details of this announcement, and we have a lot of new backlash to bring you tonight. Griffin Rushton is here. Griffin, you were at this announcement. We have a lot to go over, but we will note this is a part of a public health order.
Yeah, that's right. She took this step after declaring a public health emergency last night. She's adamant New Mexico is facing a gun violence crisis, especially after this week's deadly road rage shooting. The order suspends open and concealed carry laws for the next 30 days in cities or counties with significantly high violent crime rates and firearm-related hospital visits. That means this order only applies to Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, and there are several exceptions. The order does not affect law enforcement or licensed security officers. It also does not include private properties, licensed firearm retailers, legal firing ranges, and shooting competitions. However, anyone traveling between those locations must store their guns in a locked container or safety box.
The purpose is to try to create a cooling off period while we figure out how we can better address public safety and gun violence.
Part of that includes collecting new data. The order also requires all New Mexico hospitals report more information on gunshot victims, including their age, gender, ethnicity, and the type of gun used. It's also calling for wastewater testing for certain drugs like fentanyl at all public schools. Additionally, the order directs CYFD to take another look at its juvenile probation protocols, a clear sign this order is targeting youth gun violence.
It should horrify every American and every New Mexican that so many young people and so many individuals with no training, with reckless criminal behaviors, are openly carrying firearms in our communities. I'm horrified.
The governor said today more state police officers are heading to Albuquerque, and her order is also committing state resources to arrest more suspects with outstanding warrants. Now, we should add the state is also offering free trigger locks to all gun owners. We're going to put the information on how to get those up on KOB.com.
And almost immediately, this decision sparked a lot of opposition from many different areas in our state.
Yeah, and the governor was expecting that. She said today that she was expecting legal challenges, and she said that not not all the public safety officers that she met with to make this decision agree with her, and that includes Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen. In a statement, he says, "While I understand and appreciate the urgency, the temporary ban challenges the foundation of our Constitution. I am wary of placing my deputies in positions that could lead to civil liability conflicts, as well as the potential risks posed by prohibiting law-abiding citizens from their constitutional right to self-defense." APD Chief Harold Medina sent a message to his officers tonight saying they will not be enforcing the governor's order. Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller echoed that message, saying that's up to state police officers. New Mexico Republican leaders, an Albuquerque city councilor, and police union leaders have also sharply criticized the governor's decision, largely calling it unconstitutional. Republican Party Chairman Steve Pierce added, "The governor admitted she knew her order is unconstitutional and says her order puts citizens in a dangerous situation and is outright illegal." The governor directly addressed those concerns today.
All the examples you cited are crimes. Kids shooting at other kids, shooting from cars. So what's the value of the civil order? Why not just do better law enforcement?
Both. The value of the order is that it gives me three things. One, it says it's a statewide issue and it's a message to everyone to start leveraging their resources and arresting people. Two, the jurisdictions come at this, including with the DOJ restrictions, differently, without the leveraging and the additional resources, arresting, and where do they go? We got to make sure that everyone is bumping up their services. It's a message to the Metropolitan Detention Center. It's a message to the HMOs. You better figure out treatment. We have been sort of stalled out, to your point. This order basically says, stop stalling out, and to your point, just arrest everyone. Well, I also have to have the ability, I can't arrest everyone. There are literally too many people to arrest.
Well,
this would allow us,
If someone's got a concealed carry permit in Albuquerque walking down a public street, they're not going to get arrested.
I can make the point that they should be. And this is the point. I'm willing to do anything and everything within a shred of evidence-based effort. Because if you're not horrified that on any street corner in too many cities in New Mexico, there is someone with a gun sticking out of their waist or their belt, no constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment.
The governor says she plans on using all the data they're collecting to decide if this public health order should be extended or potentially modified once the 30 days are up.
Right, at least 30 days, it'll be in effect, and we'll keep asking the governor's office whether they plan on extending.
Yeah, man. So the governor, who of course is a Democrat, went right back to the Democrat roots and went full authoritarianism because of a public health crisis. He says it's a gun violence public health crisis. Maybe that's true. You know, that probably is. But what kind of mandate, what kind of unconstitutional order can possibly fix that? You know, she pretty much said, you know, maybe law-abiding citizens exercising their constitutional right to carry, including concealed carry. She said they shouldn't be arrested. Which, I mean, I wouldn't disagree if she came out strong and said criminals should be arrested, but she doesn't. She wants to focus instead of on actual criminals, meaning actual gun violence. She wants to take away the guns from the people who aren't criminals, while at the same time making them completely defensive, while she still doesn't have a plan to deal with the guys who aren't criminals. I'm not sure what she thinks she's accomplishing by banning the guns of law-abiding citizens, by stopping them protecting themselves from criminals who don't follow the law. I don't know. That's the definition of criminals. They're not going to follow the law. Someone who commits an act of violence, with a firearm especially, is not, they are a criminal. They're not going to listen to more law. They're already committing a crime. So arrest the criminals. Put them in. Leave your citizens alone. You know, carrying is not a crime. They are not hurting anyone. I don't know why you'd want to arrest them or why you'd want to ban them. If you're a serious person, you wouldn't. So either she's not a serious person or more likely we all know, this is more about ideology. This is all about ideology. Taking her shot, taking advantage of the crime crisis we had a part to create. Take a shot at imposing something the Democrats have always wanted, probably like a test case, to see if it's even possible. They want to ban all guns instead of being tough on crime. They don't want to call a legislative session. They don't want to put lawmakers together. They don't want to try and solve a problem. They want to create a problem. I don't know about you guys. We probably are in need of another crime bill. Tougher on violent criminals, more prisons for the violent, more mental health institutions. We probably don't have any comparatively, compared to what we used to have. They need to start institutionalizing people who just don't fit in society. But not everyone belongs in a prison. Mental health is a major factor in a lot of this stuff. But here's what happens. Democrats, they start believing their own nonsense, and they don't want to look racist by locking up non-white people. So they run from the issue. They ignore it. They go soft on crime. They let it get out of control. And then they punish you. They punish law-abiding citizens by taking away their constitutional rights. This is a never-ending rinse and repeat cycle. It's amazing. There is studies on this. I don't have it in front of me, but I can promise you, even without looking at a study, the good citizen who carries, they're not the problem. They avoid every possible situation where they think they might have to use their firearm because they understand, they're trained in their CCW courses that even if they're totally justified, you're going to take the machine and you're going to set it against them. The machine is going to make them pay for daring to protect themselves. They know that. But protecting their families is more important than dealing with you guys. But, the problem is criminals. The problem is gangs. The problem is not these people. But anyway, it's not all bad news. Big shout out to the local police in some of these New Mexican towns. They've said it's unconstitutional. They're not even going to wait around for the court to say so. They're not going to enforce it. To me, that's standing up, man. I love seeing local law enforcement standing up for their citizens' rights. They make it clear this is not about guns. This is not a guns issue. This is a crime issue. This is a criminals issue. And I love seeing this. These are good cops. These cops, they're not going to arrest citizens who lawfully carry because it's their right. It's their right to do so. And they got bigger problems than worrying about law-abiding people. And it's crazy to think that we're even talking about this, man. But this is what you get when you vote for Democrats. You get overt authoritarianism. Yeah, it's prettied up. It's got nice bows. It's got nice lipstick. But that's what it is, guys. You voted for this. The exact kind of people, they accuse others, of course, but they seem to have learned this new move, and they think we're all too stupid to sniff it out. They declare anything as a public health crisis, even guns. They institute these crazy authoritarian laws. They take away your rights. And then they, say they're really only trying to keep you safe. But yeah, okay, government, sure, you're keeping me safe by taking away my right to defend myself against the criminals who you refuse to stop. But, criminals who, by the way, won't be following the same law that disarmed me. Make that make sense. But that's not keeping anybody safe. That's keeping people at risk, and even worse, that's keeping people dependent. So shout out to these local police and sheriff for rejecting this. The governor is, of course, sending state police into some cities to enforce the law. I got to feel bad for those guys. And we'll see what happens. We'll definitely keep a close eye on this. This will get struck down. Another move of the Democrats. Just do it. Cause as much damage as you can, and then wait for the courts to settle it years and years later. All the damage is already done. But anyway, it really, to me, does show how authoritarian Democrats are and what they really want to do when it comes to the Second Amendment and guns in this country. I hope that every single person that they arrest becomes a government-funded freaking gazillionaire. But anyway, that's just my take, guys. Let me know yours in the comments. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.